Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Louise Huber begins now.
Good evening, everyone. There are calls to start direct passenger flights between Hobart and the Bass Strait Islands as tourism operators struggle to survive. Talks are progressing to make the proposal a reality, and businesses say it could make a massive difference.
Breathtaking beaches, greens the envy of golfers, but reaching King and Flinders Islands from Hobart has never been easy. It's hoped that might soon change.
Extensions of all that is great about Tasmania, and having direct services into Hobart hopefully will make it a lot more affordable and a lot easier for people in the south of the state to go and visit them.
7 Tasmania understands talks are well advanced on the proposal. Currently, Tasmanian flights to the islands only operate out of Launceston and the northwest. Tourism operators cut off from the valuable Victorian market believe the move could be a game changer.
So it means logistically it's much easier for people from Hobart to be able to just jump on the plane instead of jumping on their car and driving to Launceston and then having to time it right to get the plane.
Having direct flights would, in the COVID situation we're in at the moment, would greatly improve the tourism on Flinders Island, saving people having to drive from Hobart to Launceston to get to Flinders.
The state government is staying tight-lipped for now, but says all options are on the table.
It's not for me to describe what's going on in detail at the moment, but there are discussions underway and we are prepared to have a look at creative solutions and proposals that can reinvigorate tourism.
Solutions which hopefully arrive sooner rather than later. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
Reforms to help Tasmania's taxi industry will be introduced into Parliament this week. The state government says the move will level the playing field for the industry, which has been hit hard by COVID-19 and ride-sharing apps.
To ensure that we are putting a cap and indeed a moratorium on the number of new licences that will be issued over the next 4 years, ensuring that we can actually have a sustainable path going forward for the setting of fares.
Well, the difficulty mainly has been you have one part of the industry highly regulated, no control over its fares, no control over many of its operational things, and the other one given carte blanche to do whatever it wished.
Under the changes, ride-sharing companies will need to be accredited by the government. Uber, which was consulted for the bill, has welcomed the announcement. A Legislative councillor is ramping up his call for the government to raise the smoking age in Tasmania. Ivan Dean is bringing his proposed bill to ban the sale of cigarettes to Tasmanians under 21 to Parliament this month. And he's praising new Menzies Institute research, revealing people believe the move could denormalise the behaviour.
This government, or the previous governments, have been very strong in wanting to reduce smoking. And that's, I compliment them on that. But the fact is that we need to do more now to reduce it further.
It's dangerous, it's bad for you, it will shorten your life. But we're wanting to do that through evidence-based strategies, and there's nowhere in Australia where that law has been demonstrated.
The Tasmanian Small Business Council has once again said a ban could have a significant effect on small retailers. This time, 80 years ago, a crucial battle that shaped World War II took place. Commemorations were held across the state this weekend, remembering those who risked it all.
A moment of reflection for one of history's most pivotal events.
There are very few events in history that shaped the world, and the Battle of Britain is one such event.
It's an important occasion because it was the first battle in armed conflict that was fought entirely in the air.
The Royal Air Force defeating Nazi Germany in the skies. The remarkable battle taking place 8 decades ago, holding a special place in the memories of those who lived through it.
I was a youngster during the battle, and back then aeroplanes were magic things. And I think that probably convinced me that I should make a career in the Air Force, which I did.
Tasmania, the centre of the Royal Australian Air Force's official commemorations. An honour for all those involved, despite a different program this year.
Very proud to be a part of it, not just to be here and to be a part of the activities, but also to see what it means to people, and hopefully we can continue that tradition.
Spirits still high despite a missing element in the skies.
And I don't think the lack of the flight past or the presence of Chief of Air Force or the Air Force Band or the mainland visitors has taken away from the commemoration activities this year.
And despite fewer distinguished guests, this year's wreath-laying service was still strongly attended.
Well, I'm ex-Air Force, but I think it's very, very important that we don't forget.
Well, I think it's very significant in that if Britain did not hold out against Nazi Germany, and if it did collapse, then the ramification for the rest of the world, including Australia, would be enormous.
Those who gave it all to protect our way of life, still living on 80 years strong. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
What started as a childhood dream has turned into 2 decades of fishing and fun for 2 Tassie lads. Nick Duigan and Andrew Hart are celebrating Hook, Line and Sinker's 20th anniversary this year by taking the show back to where it all began, our own backyard.
G'day everyone and welcome to Hook, Line and Sinker, Tasmania's own fishing show.
And so began a 20-year fishing trip, reeling in some big sights.
This is a boat. I thought it was a surfboard.
Small ones too.
Say hi, Stu.
Say hi to little Stu.
And it can all be traced back to here at Brumby's Creek near Cressy.
Where we're standing, I used to wander around those creeks, as a small child. Mum would drop me off and leave me for the day, and I'd pretend that I was on Rex Hunt fishing adventures.
That carefree fun dragged out.
Oh, well done, lady.
Oh, thank you.
Into a Tasmanian television mainstay, the show making Nick Duigan and Andrew Hart household names, along with Gilbert from Anson's Bay.
G'day, Andrew. How are you, Comma?
Mate, I'm well.
In the days before you could go viral, that went viral.
I suppose I am a real big prawn myself.
People would just sort of yell out at us on the street, I'm a real big prawn.
I'm a real big prawn.
Capturing most of the moments was veteran cameraman Mike Nesham.
Like a second family, because you're away on the road, you're in the car, you're in the boat.
That man there is Mike the cameraman. He is unserviceable.
Often spending up to 6 months of the year away from home, the pressure was on.
The biggest trout I ever caught wasn't captured on film. The cameraman had done what they call double button. Thought he buttoned on, but it actually buttoned off.
In actual fact, I don't think he ever caught it.
Perhaps the toughest job, though, belongs to Sally Wilson, who sifts through hours of vision to bring it all together.
They're renowned for being the fishing show that catches the least amount of fish on TV. They've just got this unique, flavour to them or something that just really works and resonates with their fans.
With COVID putting a leash on travel, the season being filmed now will be the most local in the show's history. Tassie will feature exclusively for all of Australia to see.
Episode 1, we had a script and we'd scripted it all very carefully and we'd planned it all. We got into about half an hour filming and we worked out that we couldn't possibly keep to that script because you can't script a fishing show and you certainly sort of can't script what we do.
Nor has any end to the show been scripted for any time soon. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
What a classic. Hundreds of Tasmanians have pounded the pavement to raise money and awareness to help those diagnosed with cancer. But with COVID-19 restrictions remaining in place, an annual charity walk saw many take a virtual route, undertaking their fundraising efforts online.
An army of pink running for a cause. For many of these vibrant participants, cancer hits close to home.
Cancer's impact on me is probably my dad with skin cancer, and unfortunately we did lose him to cancer a few years ago.
I've had my basically father who passed on, and my other half, she's actually gone through it too.
Sharing their stories as they pound the pavement for Cancer Council's annual Women's 5K Walk Run, with events held statewide to raise money for support and research.
We are everything that's above that medical diagnosis. We are the support. We are the wig library. We are getting people to their medical appointments across Tasmania, and we do that for free, and we can't do that without the funding that we get from fundraisers.
We want to support people who are raising money for finding
cures and treatments for cancer. It's a great cause.
Crowds looking a little smaller than previous years, as COVID-19 gathering limits push many to take an online path, sharing videos of their walks on social media to continue the fundraising efforts from a distance.
We've had people in Ulverston, down the Huon, everywhere, dressing up in pink. Whether or not they've got the T-shirt, it doesn't matter. They're getting into it for Cancer Council.
Around $120,000 has been raised so far. Ruby Kameen, 7 Tasmania News.
Kingborough has kept its slim finals hopes alive in the TSL down in Glenorchy this afternoon. In what was a tense and at times scrappy match, the Tigers held their nerve in a goalless final term.
The Tigers' second game in only 4 days, but with plenty on the line, it was the Magpies who were looking tired.
Good handball, little ground grubber, kick it, go. It's successful for the Tigers.
Bolstered by the star power of former AFL stars Kieran Lovell and Mackenzie Willis.
Gets it out the back door, the former Gold Coast Sun, and makes no mistake.
The Tigers silence the home crowd.
He points to the opposing fans and just likes his own work there.
Before a local live wire brought them to their feet.
He's kicked another one. Fantastic finish from Callan Daly.
His energy sparking a second quarter Magpies resurgence, the margin just 1 point at half-time. What followed was a back-and-forth battle for the lead and the ascendancy.
Was never going to miss that, was Jay Bowden. He's got 4.
Neither side able to land the knockout blow. The final quarter stressful but goalless. A handful of behinds to the Tigers, the only points, enough to seal the win and plunge North Hobart into the dreaded last place on the ladder. It was the university goalkeeper's worst nightmare at Alinda Grove. Kingborough netting 3 goals in the first 30 minutes on the way to an 8-2 romp. Clarence was saved by the post early in its top-of-the-table clash with Olympia, but the Warriors' strike weapon wouldn't be denied in the 31st minute.
Around the outside around. Dixon Cook comes out. Oh, and slots it home, Bonnie Davies.
Meanwhile, the Kingborough men are also on cloud 9 after a goal in the dying minutes handed them victory over Launceston City last night. Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
Good evening. 16 across Hobart and Burnie today, Launceston 15, Devonport reaching a high of 14. 17 was the state's top at Friendly Beaches, 15 about Grove and St Helens, Strawn 13. On the close-up, middle level cloud ahead of a cold front covers Tasmania. Further out, cloud associated with the trough extends from central Australia to the Tasman Sea. Tomorrow, low pressure troughs will linger about the far northwest and northeast of the state. Westerly winds tomorrow 20 to 30 knots, reaching 45 knots about the lower east. Swells up to 8 metres in the west and south and below 1 metre in the north. A severe weather warning is current for southern and central Tasmania of potentially damaging winds. A gale warning for lower eastern, southern and western coastal waters from Wineglass Bay to Sandy Cape, and a strong wind warning for all remaining coastal waters for the southeast inshore waters and the southwest and central plateau lakes. Tomorrow's forecast now: Hobart 14, showers and wind across Dover and Ouse. In the north, partly cloudy about Launceston and Devonport, Scottsdale 15. Burnie tomorrow, partly cloudy, Strawn 13, 15 at Stanley. 17 across St Helens and Swansea and Ross, mostly sunny with windy conditions. Looking ahead to the 3-day forecast: Tuesday, showers about the west and far south, fine elsewhere. Wednesday, showers across the northwest and far south. And Thursday, showers extending throughout the state during the morning. Capital cities 27 and partly cloudy in Perth tomorrow. Melbourne, mostly sunny and a high of 35 in Darwin. And it's currently 12 right across the state. Back to you, Lou.
Lovely, thanks Jackie. And that's all your news for this Sunday evening. Thanks for joining us. Good night.